Namaste, everyone. I'm here to do my best to articulate my day today with Guruji and just wanting to attempt to describe a little bit more about some of what happens, some of the experiences that take place while being around her since her mind is still 100% still. And I've been around her off and on for many years now, and have had always, with here, it seems to, it's one thing when you're around her a lot, it's kind of becomes, it's just, I guess, something not really that you get used to. It's certainly, I don't mean to say that in the way that you don't. I'm sorry, I'm doing my best to articulate here. Hopefully, it's coming out okay. And I'm just going to let this be, but there's still deepening as the years go by, with as one is in her presence. And today, we just did our typical day. We just went to the mall to go walking and looking around, just something we like to do sometimes. And again, what happens here is sometimes there's a bit of settling before things just hit and go pow. And when the different experiences of deepening or samadhi state, stillness, slowing of mind, what have you, take place, one is not at all expecting that or anything, and it can come at any time. So anyway, we were just enjoying our day, and actually today I hadn't eaten much, so I felt pretty lightheaded, and I still do actually. There's just a lot of kind of ringing or just feeling like things are very surreal. And again, not completely new, but when I was around her today, that seemed to be even more pronounced. I just feel, and since being on this path, that you just get very much in tune with energy so much. I mean, even in my own place, I can be in the kitchen and, things will have their same kind of, some of the phenomena, a lot of that and different things. And I could walk into my closet, which is where I'm at now, and that, I have some of Guruji's pictures around Ramanets and enclosed space, and there's a shift. I mean, I'm very, you become very much in tune with different, just the energy flow of different, whatever is happening, transmission and things. So back to today. So we were having lunch, and then and when I was walking with her, I just was feeling like, I was just gonna go out. Yeah. So I guess the words are coming out yet again. But I was feeling that way, and then as we were driving home is when it really happened. Um, I'm so sorry. I'm going to I think something will come out that makes sense. Um, and I let Guruji, I actually said, I'm starting to just go out. She goes, oh, go out. And so that's what happened. And again, it's happened before, but this was even deeper. So just to describe, the experience here. Um, there's there's literally the body just feels like it just flops, almost like a rag doll. Um, for me, that's the way it is. And here in my place, there can be some really still some very extreme kriyas, and those can sometimes be flailing, extremely intense. I mean, the tongue out, and um, I guess outbursts, verbal outbursts, and releasing, and that's just been heavy and intense and ongoing. Not always. Sometimes it's more subtle. It's just more of a current, which is coming more and more. But oh boy, where was I? Huh. Anyway, okay, so with her, um, let's. So with her, um, I think she'll get a kick out of this too. I hope she does. I told her you're a great friend. But give me another hit of that because boy, it was intense today. So anyway, there'll be loss of voluntary control, I want to say, in terms of, what I'm used to is, or sometimes having more kriyas and things, and these are just more twitches. I mean, literally, what is felt is just this pure current of energy that flows unobstructed. And um, one is just gone. And, the ears were still hearing. And there was a sense of the form, but it wasn't, I just felt not as in touch with the form, like it felt like this more of a solid thing, or I guess it's more the identity with it, or feeling. Feeling more like whatever way you may have been in touch with the body before, in terms of pain, let's say, for instance, if there's pain or if there's sensations, it just wasn't there. There just was, I just didn't feel in touch with it in that way, and it was absolutely fine. um, the consciousness, there was nothing coming across it. There was some feeling, I guess you could call it darkness, I don't know. It just um, empty, felt empty. And, all good. Uh, so, and again, it was hard to describe because, there was also the sense of there were some lights, I guess as a car was going by, some lights on the side. I mean, that could be, I don't know, I could feel different things like that internally, whatever energies being around. And but for the most part, but there wasn't like there was thoughts, and there wasn't imagery. Um, and yet, it was, the senses were still there. So, if one wanted to verbalize, it just felt like it couldn't be done, or it would be done at such great efforts, almost painful in a way, to say something. And so, it just, and so here I am, literally just flopping as the car's going head down, limp, twitchies. There may be some formation of the hand coming up, but it was not. Um, Nothing was able to complete itself in that regard. And so my head was back, different things, I don't know, just kind of floating around, and just this body just kind of moving with, the turns and different things going down, or, just, that was the way. I hope I'm making sense to people. So that lasted, I don't know, I guess it was during whatever time it took to drive. And fortunately, with Guruji, if one is quiet or whatever, it's fine. I mean, she certainly, didn't have a big friend there that was, being very conversive. Does that make sense? I'm sorry, I'm doing my best. So anyway, so that's how that was. And so anyway, again, that description, I believe, of a pure, unobstructed current of energy, that a purity to it that is there, that one could describe as blissful, peaceful contentment, without those thoughts being there, with no one there feeling those things. But that was the experience. And whether you come out of, I guess, like being in a really deep sleep, dreamless sleep in a way. And here, there's still a lot of vivid dreams and that kind of thing. So it was a dreamless sleep, where you're not involved. And the body in itself, though, is also not, it doesn't have voluntary function in terms of movement and things. I mean, I suppose if someone shook me, or if she said, hey, wake up, or, it would be painful, but eventually that would rouse and come forward. But so coming out of it a bit, the eyes opened, and it just felt like, being more of a quiet witness to the world. There was an attempt to speak, and of course we were laughing about it, because it was pain. Not, I don't want to call painful, but the words at that point, just literally, I want to say, one is the verbalization is, in that way, felt muted. And not anything that is painful, quite fine. I mean, quite, it'd be nicer to never speak, but, and so that was that. And then also, the body, it just feels here that with this process, and also some of those really hard-hitting times of falling away. And what's happening more and more here is the cellular memory or debris gets cleared out to the point where, that is lighter. I mean, empty. That's just the word that comes. And I know that's a word that gets tricky, because it is it's an empty, very peaceful feeling, where you're just, you don't have those solid formations of ideas or whatever attachments. And again, these things have been flowing in and out, but today it was the biggest slamming of all so far. And and how many times I've said I've been on this path 17 years, and literally the practices have been engaged as much as possible when I was working and with a child, but now, that I have the time, and it's been every second of my life and moments, and or, just resting in whatever pure experience, if there's quietude, until the waves come up again, and and I have felt deepening lately. And then when you're around Guruji, you know, you can also think you really are in a certain space in terms of stillness and things. And this, again, if one is around her, and this is again what I've noticed is these things will bubble up again, sometimes percolate at first, you know, surface like um, just whatever's there, energetic. You know, it could be thoughts, it could be visions, I don't know, whatever people have held that they think is, you know, it's all good, and those come up again. Those can get going, and then it, you know, it seems to balance out and just get deeper. So I hope I'm not rambling, and it could be that I am. Um, you know, doing my best to describe kind of, you know, what's hard to put into words, and so. Okay, yeah, it's still working, guys. So anyway, you know, hopefully, it's really, as I've talked about with Guruji, no joke being around this transmission. It's, you know, what do they say when you're in the mouth of the tiger? I hope I said that right. But, you know, which is means, you know, you're in the grips of Guru's grace. There's really no escape for ego if your heart is open and you're willing, and um, you know, open to surrendering, and you know, have that as a focal point, whether you're completely conscious of it or not always. If that's there within your heart, then it keeps going, and it's the best blessing. I mean, really. So. And so that's, you know, I just, in fact, when I came out of it too, I was laughing. I go, you know, I said to Guruji, you've just, don't tell me you've just been sitting there, you know. Yes, I have, because that's literally what it is. And she's in that pure consciousness. There's nothing, you know, she didn't plan this. I didn't plan it too. I had no idea, but, you know, she doesn't plan these things. She doesn't do any, you know, magic things, or even touch me, or, you know, or say something, or even whisper a mantra. I mean, there's nothing. Okay, we were driving, and this kind of thing takes place. She's wearing regular clothes. I'm wearing regular clothes. You know, there's nothing special about our environment. There's no props. There's no special decor. Nothing, and so that's really important for people to hear as well. Um, you know, that this is no joke. This is a true um, experience that comes to sadhakas that have invested their time and opened their hearts to a true guru. Eventually, the mind becomes synced up in a way with Guru completely, to where, or that grace, where it's in on the same vibration, or in alignment with that, and it's the same. Um, and I can feel, you know, there's other times I can just feel the heart-to-heart connection, and you just know, you know, if you've experienced it, and people that are want to doubt it, well, they've never had the experience of it. You know, if there's some place I've went in this world that you've never been to, you can say, oh yeah, right, that isn't true, all that you say, but I would know it because I've been there, I've experienced it. But, you know, um, I'm doing my best here. But anyway, so unless you've actually gone there and tasted the food and felt the energy and had your feet on the ground of that terrain and saw what's around, you just, you can't say it doesn't exist until you experience it directly. And I'm here to tell you, and others are that are students of Guruji and true gurus, that this transmission is real, it's beautiful, it's something that's challenging though too, and can bring up a lot for people that are not wanting to open their heart. It can bring up more of the same, and um, it's a hard path. Even though I'm speaking to this part of it, again, I've been on this past 17 years, and then beyond that, the work that was done. So, to come to a samadhi states that are coming and going is, it's efforts. It's your own personal efforts until those efforts wash away and leaving just that purity. And I just feel very blessed for whatever grace comes, and very honored and blessed that this is happening when it does. And I thank you, Guruji, for your time and for your care and compassion. And but I wanted to put this out there, and I may be going on too long. I can't quite tell, but because, as I was saying to Guruji, if others ever come to this point, they can listen to it and go, yeah, that's it. And they can connect with it and not feel alone with it, which can happen so easily on a Kundalini journey, because it is so out of the norm. But, because eventually this will be, because when I go back and sometimes I read some of the visions or that kind of thing, and now that they're so hazy mostly, it's kind of like, wow, it's kind of hard to believe, but I wrote down everything as being true at that time because I knew it would fade, for others. Because if they ever happen upon that, they can say, yes, this does happen, and you're not crazy, you're not going insane. You just, get the right mentor, or it's part of it. And that's going to be the case with these samadhi states that come and go as well, just to document them while they're here and fresh, rather than, you can't go back after a certain point. Like, I could never go back and describe those visions so much. Now I can describe it a little bit, will come out. You can't manufacture what's not there, what's fading and what's fleeting, like some distant, horizon that's so far away. So that's why, again, we chose to, when we talked today, and Guruji asked me to do this, I'm so happy to give out whatever experience is there that has come by grace and will continue to do so. And for those that have ears to listen, and I think also hearing progress of the sadhaka's journey, as well as, those that have dedicated their time and their hearts, is very, others that are on the path, that's nice for them, as well as, any others that are just open to listening, and that's all. So thank you again. I hope it made sense, and I'll talk with you later. Bye. Namaste.